the 1903 Papal Conclave, a prelate named Cardinal Rampolla received enough votes to become pope. But to everyone at the conclave's surprise, a veto was presented on behalf of His Imperial Majesty, Franz Joseph of Austria, annulling the election. It turned out that Rampolla was Grand Master with the OTO.
Dude, when you look at this guy right here, even because I haven't watched this video in probably like over a year, just looking at this guy, for some reason he just looks evil. Like he looks like Dracula dressed in like papal or in Catholic attire. He looks sinister, you know? And he was sinister because he was a Freemason.
Of His Imperial Majesty, Franz Joseph of Austria, annulling the election. It turned out that Rampolla was Grand Master with the OTO, an occult sect which included occultists Aleister Crowley and Rudolf Steiner.
And let me see here. So I guess, let me see. I'm not sure if the Ordo Templis Orientis is part of the Freemasons, technically speaking, but I mean, they're also like a secret society kind of thing, right? Let me see.
Included occultists.
Right, Aleister Crowley. Later in the Palmarian section, I think, we're going to be talking about aliens, right? Because the Palmarians, I think actually also the quote unquote apostles of infinite love, they also believe in aliens. So that alone is another point against them. You know, it's a very odd, strange belief to hold. The Catholic Church has never taught anything about aliens and all that nonsense, okay? So this guy, Aleister Crowley here, the modern so-called aliens, you know, alien phenomenon, whatever you want to call it, it is pretty much a guarantee that they're actually just demons, okay? Because this guy, Aleister Crowley, once, I think he drew an image of this entity he said would appear to him, and he called it Lamb, right? Lam, I think, Lamb. And if you see an image of this creature, and I'll probably put an image on the screen so you can see, the creature looks just like what people would today call a so-called gray alien, okay? So the so-called alien phenomenon, I believe, is actually just demons messing with people, you know? I mean, like even Bigfoot, I think, is 99% probably just demons messing with people. Now, I think it could be possible that there are some real creatures that are like hairy, bipedal, whatever. I don't think it's impossible. I mean, even, you know, and it's not contrary to Catholic teaching either, because some church fathers believe that like satyrs were real, like Saint Anthony of Egypt believed that satyrs were real creatures, you know? So it is not against Catholic teaching to believe that there may be strange creatures in the world. But for Bigfoot, for example, I was once very, very into the whole Bigfoot thing. I would watch the show called Finding Bigfoot and all this kind of stuff. And even last year, I kind of like had an interest in it again. And so I would watch people, you know, different shows about Bigfoot, or people talking about Bigfoot, and they're sharing their stories and stuff like that. And something that I saw reoccurring, I was like, when I heard someone's story, I was like, dude, that is a demon. You know, I was just like, it was so obvious to me. Like there was even a guy where he said he went to some forest camping or whatever, or some place camping. And Bigfoot was like, you know, hanging out with him and talking to him mentally or something like that. And he said that this creature told him that its name was Lucifer. And I was like, dude, how stupid do you have to be talking to some random strange creature that tells you its name is Lucifer, and you can't tell that that's a demon? Seriously? And that's why, like, I can't stomach to follow infidels very much sometimes. Like, sometimes I have to take like a very long break from watching infidels videos or listening to infidels, because I'm just like, their stupidity baffles me and disgusts me and infuriates me. I'm like, how could this thing literally is like if a demon appears to you and tells you I'm a demon, And you're like, no, you're not. You're Bigfoot. You know what I mean? Like, that's how stupid it is. The thing literally said its name is Lucifer, and this guy still thinks it was just like Bigfoot. I'm like, you serious, man? Anyways, and there's another story where this guy was talking about how he went to some kind of, foresty kind of area. And in that area, they would often hear these like howls and stuff like that. And they believe like Bigfoot was out there. And this guy said he wanted to like be brave and not run from them or whatever. So he was like on the hood of his car, just like kind of leaning on the hood of his car. And he could hear all these Bigfoot creatures or whatever screaming and yelling and stuff in the woods and trees, trying to like scare him or whatever. And he was like, I'm not running. I'm not scared. I'm not going anywhere. And he stood there. And then he said out of nowhere, he heard this one distinct howl that was so terrifying that it sounded like it was literally from the bowels of hell. And he was like, okay, yeah, I'm leaving. I'm done. I'm gone. And I was like, dude, the reason it sounds like it's from the bowels of hell is because it is. These things are demons, man. But the world is so faithless today, right? That people would rather believe in aliens and Bigfoot than believe that demons are real. That's how faithless the world is. The world is so faithless, even by, like, say, Protestant standards, that they'd rather believe in Bigfoot and aliens than believe the truth that demons are real. Because when someone talks about these experiences with, Bigfoot or aliens and stuff like that, as far as Bigfoot, I think it could be possible there may be some hairy creature. I don't know, right? But even so, even if there really is some hairy Bigfoot creature, there are still, I think the majority of cases are either people lying, people having mental issues, or people being messed with by demons. Okay, so all of this was kind of like off tangent, but this Aleister Crowley guy, his so-called entity, the entity called so-called Lamb or whatever, looks basically the same as modern so-called gray aliens. And of course, the Palmarians and the Palmarians, I'm pretty sure the Palmarians, but definitely the quote-unquote Apostle of Infinite Love, they believe in aliens. So they're basically being deceived by demons, you understand? To believe a bunch of weird nonsense. They have false prophecies and all sorts of stuff. But we'll get into that in the later sections, all right?